Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the Free Range Human Show Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards. We're live on a frosty Wednesday, hump day morning here in central Mississippi. I hope everybody out there is staying warm and doing good, except Democrats. I hope y'all are cold and you have a terrible day here in central Mississippi, especially you Chokwe and Lumumba and your sister and anybody that works for you, knows you, likes you, breathes the same air as you, voted for you. I think that's about it. I think I got it covered there. And your lawyers. I hope they have a bad day too. But other than that, good night, strippers and drug dealers. Good morning, everybody else. Welcome in to a new day in America. It's a beautiful day. I missed yesterday. That was quasi-planned because I thought there was going to be ice on the roads. So I was like, well, look, man, as much as I love doing radio, as much as I love coming and sharing the joy, as much as I wanted to come in and talk about all the great things Donald J. Trump, our Lord and Savior, did on day one. Day one, he did more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. Well, now Joe Biden did a lot in 4 years, a lot of bad. I guess what I was trying to say was he did more than what Joe Biden did good in 4 years. But Joe Biden did absolutely nothing. So if Trump had just not screwed anything up, he would have done more than Joe Biden did. So bad analogy, but y'all smell what the rock is cooking. You smell what the rock is cooking. Trump did a lot of great things. I wanted to come talk about it, but I did not want to take a chance of, look, man, I think I'm a good driver. I'm a cautious driver. I don't like driving on slick roads because we're not built for that down here. I heard Matthew Bishop talking about that in hour one on his show. He spent a lot of time up in D.C. and in that area. They're built for it. Infrastructurally, they're built for it. We ain't built for that down here. We may put a little bit of salt on the roads here and there, but I mean, it's a Hail Mary at best. I think I can drive, but the problem is Jacksonians and rednecks out in the county that think they can drive. The big difference. So I go slow. I don't put my foot on the gas when I'm going over icy bridges, et cetera, et cetera. But you get a bunch of idiots that's just, all gas, no brakes. Bunch of wrecks. They wreck into you. Next thing you know, you're on the side of the road wrecked, hopefully not hurt, in freezing cold temperatures. It just ain't worth it. Do a radio show the next day. That's what we did. But, of course, my point being from all that, these local weather people, what happened? What happened to those guys? They used to be so good. Now, look, even when they're wrong, I don't mind it on tornadoes. If they go overkill, if they go full doomsday on tornadoes, that's like my one thing. That's my crutch. Tornadoes, they scare me to death because they can just boop, fall out of the sky right on top of you. So I'll go into full panic mode. Ask anybody who's ever spent a quality amount of any amount of time around me. If bad weather comes through, I become the most worrisome friend that you have. Now, this ice and snow crap, they went full doomsday on this, had them shutting down schools, businesses, everything else. And I mean, I don't know if y'all saw the radar yesterday, but even the ice and snow are scared of Jackson. It was like a hook, like a horseshoe, right around Jackson. But no, we ain't getting shot today. We ain't getting shot today. But all joking aside, back to the weather people. How do they consistently get it so wrong? With all this technology they got today. Consistently get it so wrong. I mean, I don't know. But I just knew that we were going to have ice and everything on the roads. I was like, no, I went and spent $177 at the grocery store on bread and milk for no reason. I've got to throw it out now. It's only good when there's ice on the roads. Bread and milk's terrible any other time. That's a joke, by the way. I didn't buy bread and milk. Bought bottled water and beer and a couple other things. But nonetheless, I went and spent $177 in case I was trapped up in the house for a few days. Bought all stuff I need and would use on any other time anyhow. But nonetheless, I don't normally have to spend $177 in one fell swoop. So, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. The Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. The theme of the show today, the adults are back in the room. That's the title of the show. That's if you're watching online, you see the caption there. There's the title. So that will be the theme. I had a great show last night. I see y'all's comments over here. We're going to get your comments pulled up on the screen at the top of the next segment. I like to leave my fancy little overlay with my logo and website and all on it for the first segment so everybody can see the website and everybody can see where we're watching it, where to watch it online and all that good stuff. And I'm going to read all your comments because, yes, we're definitely going to talk about the Trump. We're going to talk about the Trump executive orders. But first, we got a phone call on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Let's go straight to, I think it's Jerry on the phone. Hey, brother, good morning.
Hey, man, it's me. I can't text and drive. So
no, you shouldn't. No, nor should you.
Not in this weather.
Nor should you.
But, man, look, you had me doing a spit take here. I was trying to drink my drink when you said that. You had it teed up, and I thought you were about to hit the grand slam, but you just missed it. When you said it went around Jackson, it's hilarious because I was just talking with someone yesterday about that, and he's like, that's just physical proof that Jackson is literally a hellhole because it defrosted the entire atmosphere. It is such a flaming dumpster fire.
That is so good. I hate it when I miss it.
So, but anyway, yes, to the point of the show, man, I don't call in except, just to say hey or tell you how bad the roads are getting out here or where to avoid the traffic jam. But, yeah, it's, I don't know if it's refreshing or everybody can just exhale or you just sit back with your arms crossed and you look around and you make that kind of eye recognition with everyone, including the ones on the opposite side of your belief system. And everybody has the understood, nod. Yes. Okay. People who really want to do better, people who have a plan, people who know how to get things in charge, and we can kick ball and squall all we want. Stuff's about to get done. It's not going to get done our way. And you can either chew on your lip or you can leave.
Yep.
So, like I said, it's just one of those where you just want to exhale and go, okay, not going to take our foot off the gas, but we're actually going to make everyone acknowledge we're going to get some crap done. And if you're not happy, as Kim would say, we really don't care.
Man, I'm glad you brought it up in that context. I had a thought yesterday, and I was saving it for this morning. You set me up there, so I am going to hit a little grand slam here. I remember back in 2016, I was watching all the inauguration stuff. What was it, Monday? Yeah. I was watching all the inauguration stuff, and then, of course, I was at home yesterday. Between the 2 days, it just had this constant thought in my head. It was a bit nostalgic. I was thinking back to 2016 when we won. And I remember, and I almost made a post, but I said, no, I'll just save it for the radio today. I remember, again, 2016 when we won, and I remember walking around the car dealership. I won't mention which one I was at the time. Working with a lot of black Democrats at the time. We ain't many white Democrats in town, so when I say work with Democrats, I'm just going to be 100, working with black Democrats. And it was at this point they had all been brainwashed that Trump was this evil, maniacal, white supremacist racist. And I just remember having to tiptoe around conversations with them on Inauguration Day. Man, they just they had their chins down in their chest, just all sad, like they was about to be, put back out in the fields or something. Just the darkest of the dark. And I just remember having to tiptoe around everything and how I couldn't celebrate. I mean, they knew who I supported. There was no doubt. I was never quiet about it. But I just remember not being able to be celebratory. And I was thinking now, if I worked in that dealership, and I wanted to tell everybody that works in the dealerships or everybody that works around a bunch of damn Democrats that still believe that nonsense about Trump and still want to spread those lies and misinformation and disinformation about Trump and being racist and everything, do not hide your celebratory mood. Don't wipe that smile off your face. Tell them, tough luck, Buttercup. You just had 4 years to destroy this country. Now, I don't give a damn if you're offended or not. Go sell a car. We're about to make America great again. And do not apologize. Do not hide your excitement. If they're still stupid enough to believe all that stuff about Trump, they probably need to go to the office and be written up or fired. Anyway, wanted to get that off my chest.
Well, I'm not as overt as most people. I like to have more one-on-one conversations or small group settings. But I find that if you can do it that way, rather than being the guy standing on the corner with a megaphone just screaming at people, whether it be about religion or politics or whatever it is, you find that there's a better understanding, and there's more common ground than you realize. It's actually the same on the other side. I was very blessed several years ago, right after Trump got his first election. I had to go all the way to Georgia, believe it or not, and get a truck and trailer from a driver who'd been injured. The driver rode back with me. She was a black female, overweight, and I guess you would say, batted for both teams. Was currently on the boy-girl team and was having problems. And, of course, we couldn't have been further apart than, an alien.
Yeah.
And we got to talk for literally 5 to 6 hours on the way back. And by the time that ride was over, she basically admitted to me, she said, look, I understand where you guys are or what needs to be done. She said, but you can't say that around my family. They'll disown me. So they wanted to reach common ground, or at least people that thought like her wanted to reach common ground, but were literally feared into not working with the other side, or not even trying to acknowledge common beliefs, simply from being ostracized from, like you said, the hardliners, the freaks, the weirdos, the absolute, never compromiser, never trumps, that kind of stuff. And, by the end of that ride, she got out and she said, look, I just want to ask you one thing. Can I give you a big hug? She's like, because I have wanted to talk with someone like you for so long. And I said, well, it goes both ways, because the fact that you're out there and you understand that, I'm not or people that, vote the way that maybe I did, or that believe different things from you, whether it's me or someone else, they're not the devil. They're not evil. They're just from a different world. And if somebody can acknowledge that on either side, then we can work through this thing. But like you said, it's just the lazy mentality, or as Kim says, the willful ignorance of people who are just comfortable in their beliefs, don't want to be challenged, whether they think they're right or they think they're wrong. And it's on both sides. And from that day on, I was like, you know what? I'm always going to try to reach out first. If I get my hand bit, so be it. But I'll know, don't reach out to that person next time, but I'm not going to quit reaching out to other people. And it makes life a lot easier, trust me.
Well, Jerry, I mean, it's why you're a business leader and the guy you are. I'm just done tiptoeing around stupidity and low, let me say, stupidity, smooth brains, and highly emotional people. I'm done tiptoeing around them. If I ruin their day, so damn be it. They've ruined my last 4 years, and frankly, about half of my life has been ruined with them in control over the last 47 years. So I'm not gonna be sympathetic towards them. But I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I'm fed up.
Oh, and like you said, that's the prevailing feeling right now. So, like you said, we'll take the victory lap, spike a football, maybe in their face, if they're that wrong. But like you said, not going to lose any sleep over them losing sleep. I guarantee that. Absolutely
not, Jerry. Appreciate you, brother.
Take care.
Peace out. We'll be right back. That was Jerry on the Mazda Jackson phone line. You want to call in, give your opinion, your thoughts, your 2 cents at 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. I didn't mention it earlier, but we are streaming in 4K video on the Save JXN, that's Save Jackson, Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble accounts this morning. Just go pull that up. We got a great chat community in there. It'll be up on the screen. That's right. You can chat with people from every different platform on the screen there. It's pretty cool. Whether you're on X, Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble, we see it all. Everybody sees it all. Enjoy it. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show live on the W, the Y, the W, the A, the WB. That didn't come out quite right. WYAB 103.9 FM, streaming worldwide. You already know. WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. We are also in 4K video on the previously mentioned Facebook, X, Rumble, and YouTube. I hope you're all watching there. Do me a favor, if you're watching on any of those platforms, specifically YouTube, hit subscribe. Hit the little bell right there for notifications, and bam, every time I post a video or go live, you guys will get a notification so you can watch it in live time or as soon as it's uploaded. I don't do it more than a couple times a day. You're not going to get annoyed with all the bells, I promise. And heck, if you do, I don't know what to tell you. It's just like a push notification from WLBT or anywhere else. It's how your boy gets the word out there. So please do subscribe. We had a great time. We had a great time. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. We got to talk about a lot of sponsors today. We got to do it quick and in a hurry. Monday night, Cypress Point, Cameron's Garage at Cypress Point hosted Sean and I's, we've done so much, I had a brain fart there, our college national football championship game party. What a blast. I want to thank my buddy Teddy McRaney for coming and sitting in with us. Teddy's got a lot of college football depth of knowledge. We had a great time. I want to thank everybody that came out. I want to thank Southern Beverage for the great door prizes. I want to thank Kelly and Mo Cameron for hosting us. We're going to be right back out there this Sunday. They open at 11. Sean and I will be there all day, but we'll be doing a live stream from noon to 2. You got the awesome band Acoustic Crossroads playing live from 2:30 to 5, somewhere in that neighborhood. So there's going to be live music. You got the AFC, the NFC championship games. We've got more great door prizes from Southern Beverage, Bud Light, Budweiser, Mick Ultra, all that stuff. And all you can eat wings, boneless. All you can eat boneless wings. Your choice of flavor. Buckets of beer on special from Southern Beverage and more. Going to be a great time. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. Cameron's Garage at Cypress Point out there off Hollybush Road. Going to be a great time this Sunday. And we'll also be back out there Super Bowl Sunday for our Super Bowl party, brought to you by Southern Beverage and Cameron's Garage. All right. Let's jump back into it, shall we? I said I wanted to talk about I'm not on top of it this morning, guys. I want to talk about the executive orders, but first, like Billy Mays over here, but wait, there's more. Let's talk about this preacher, satanic rainbow supremacist worshiper that had the audacity to try to humiliate my Lord and Savior, Donald J. Trump, and second in command, J.D. Vance, right in front of their families and everything. I mean, this person punched its ticket straight to hell, as far as I'm concerned. Let's take a listen to this, shall we? And if you aren't familiar with this rainbow supremacist, and if you're new here, rainbow supremacists are what I call people who have bought into the religion of LGBTQ LMNOP trans. I'm not talking about gay people necessarily. Well, they're probably also gay, but I mean, I'm not talking about like normal gay people. There is absolutely such a thing as normal gay people who don't insist upon you knowing who or what they sleep with. They're just normal people that happen to like people the same gender as them. And look, whether you like it or not, that is what it is. It doesn't bother me. To each their own. I'm talking about the people who insist upon you treating them differently than anybody else because of what gender they sleep with. particularly when it's the same as themselves. Anyway, I digress. I wanted to set that up there because his audience does grow at a pretty fast clip. So when I say rainbow supremacist, that's what I'm talking about. We had to find a workaround to talk about them and call them nut jobs. And I think that's the perfect way to do it. Now, shout out to my friend Ricky Gray here in the comments. He's like, yeep, gay guy here, Trump all the way. We love our regular gay friends, man. We have no problem with that. No problem with that at all. So, but let's play the video of this absolute nut job trying to push the trans agenda on Trump and Vance and their families at church. I think this was yesterday. Here we go. Oh, wait, give me 2 seconds. I've got to pull it up on the screen so our online audience can hear it too. We have a pretty large online audience, so we cannot leave them out of the mix here. Just give me 10 seconds here. I'm almost done. The computer's working fast today, so it doesn't take long when the computer works fast. All right. Got it. Told you I wouldn't take long. Hit play. Here we go.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives.
I mean, there was this big fear-mongering campaign that all the gays were going to be rounded up and thrown on a train with a one-way ticket, like it was a friggin' Holocaust or something. They were going to go to like gay sweat camps or something. Meanwhile, I don't know if y'all watched the inauguration party, but Trump was up there dancing with a bunch of gay dudes known as the Village People. It was like It was like perception, reality. The reality says a whole different thing. Let this nut job continue.
And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes.
If they're illegal, they're a criminal. I mean, I hate to be that guy. No, actually, I don't. It's called common sense. If they're here illegally means you're committing a criminal act. Just ABC.
And our good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques.
Paying taxes does not make you a good person or not. That is not the defining line in you being a good person or not, by the way.
Synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
Makes me think of the Iron Maiden song, Strangers in a Strange Land.
May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world.
So, I want to, A, shut up. B, I want to circle back to the part about illegals working in the fields and the churches after hours and cleaning stuff. You know, this fallacy that, and I'm convinced that this is in fact a fallacy, Now, we can make some arguments post-COVID. Oh, man, Clay, people just don't want to work. People just don't want to work, Clay. Yeah, but this has been going on for a long time, what I'm about to say here. There's this myth that these are jobs that Americans don't want to do, Clay. We just don't know what to do, Clay. These are jobs Americans don't want to do. We got to let these illegals in. I mean, Kelly Osbourne said it herself on the View. Who's gonna clean our houses if we run all the Mexicans out of here? What a racist! What a racist! I think that's a damn lie. I think Americans will do whatever job. I know too many that do these same jobs. That is the narrative that they push to try to make you feel better about our country being overrun by illegals. Is, man, nobody else is going to do these jobs. Who's going to work in the chicken plants? The Americans you pay a living wage to do it is who's going to work in the chicken plants. Who's going to work in the fields? Who's going to clean your house, Kelly Osbourne? Who's going to work the late shift at the hospital? The ones you pay a living wage. How about the fact that we sent all of our living wage jobs overseas? This is what I'm talking about. This is how we have to make America great again. What the executive order Trump should have signed was if your butt ain't on disability because you legitimately can't work, we're cutting your welfare off. We're cutting your government assistance off today. That's the executive order he should have signed. And if you got too many kids that you can't afford a babysitter and that living on welfare is cheaper or more affordable than going to work, we need to figure something out about childcare maybe, but your butt needs to be working. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll wake up with a purpose, and you will partake in making America great again. We got to take another break. We shall be right back. If you're watching online, I want you to pull up your little device right there. I want you to hit share for your boy. I don't care where you share it to. If you're watching on YouTube, somewhere that's not a social media platform, send it to the last 2 or 3 people you text messaged with. Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they won't. Tell them good morning. We'll be right back. If you're listening on the radio, you know what to do. Rip the knob off. There's nothing else you need to be listening to other than WYAB. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show, the most incendiary show on all of radio and the interwebs. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends at Martin's Downtown and Martin's Livingston. Swing by today. Swing by this morning to the Livingston Martin's Market and get you some gas. I know it's cold outside, but get you some gas. And, of course, get you one of their Southern-style, made-from-scratch, homemade chicken biscuits. Well, I guess technically it's not homemade, but you know what we mean when we say homemade. It's actually made in the kitchen, always fresh, never frozen. Then, of course, get back by either location today, Livingston out there in Madison County, or downtown Jackson. The Blue Plate Special of the day is one of my personal favorites. That's not country fried steak. It is the Martin's Meatloaf. Get out there, try it today. And let's see if they've got any live entertainment coming up that may wet your whistle a bit. Friday night at the downtown location, you got Chris Gill from starting at 6 p.m. Oh, Chris Gill, man, I like that dude. He's been around for years doing this. You have him from 6 p.m. until, and it's, of course, no cover charge. Got to love that. They had Patrick Ballard last night, day late, dollar short, telling you all about that one. But then Friday night, January 24th, they got Humid Subtropic. That's a concert. They start at 10 p.m. There is, in fact, a cover charge for that. But that is the live entertainment at the downtown location. Give me 2 seconds, and we'll see what's going on at the Livingston location for you real quick before we jump back into it. Because, of course, I want to read you Trump's reply to that preacher lady. Man, I don't want to assume any genders around here. The Livingston lineup. Oh, my boy, this Friday night, one of my favorite people, Zach Bridges, will be at Martin's Livingston. So get by there. Get by there at the Livingston location and check out Zach Bridges. You may remember Zach. He was one of the finalists, I believe. He made it a long way on The Voice. And I've been around here for a while doing the same. We love Zach, big supporters of Zach. So that's Martin's since 1953. You can check them out online at martinsdowntownjxn.com or martinslivingstonms.com. And Meatloaf available today at both locations. All right, so Donald J. Trump has replied to the rainbow supremacist nutjob priest. And, you know, Trump, just like Clay Edwards, doesn't pull any punches. It's a bishop, allegedly, a bishop. I mean, look, man, I'm from the South, and maybe that's a bad excuse. We call them preachers down here, or pulpit pimps. That's really about it. So Donald J. Trump has replied and said he truthed. The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. I mean, who is vetting these people? I thought we upgraded the Secret Service here. Somebody better be fired today. I bet it was a diversity hire. DEI is dead as of today. DEI, DIE'd. Anyway, radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was very boring and an uninspiring one. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. I love this, man. We are so back. Boys, we're back. We're back. White boy summer's upon us. Just a few months away. But whatever, white boy winter. And I love the energy. I love it. We're so back. We are so back. Did y'all hear Trump yesterday? We ain't got but a couple of minutes before we got to take our other break because of poor time management on my part. But, I'm going to stay with the online folks. I ain't going to make y'all suffer too bad. There's only so much I can do about the radio, unfortunately. The commercials pay the bills. They're great commercials. I cut over half of them. So enjoy the soft, soothing sounds of Clay Edwards doing ad reads. This was Trump. I was watching this live last night while I was waiting on Philip Yarbrough to get over to the house. We did a killer podcast last night. If y'all haven't watched it or listened to it, it is up on all platforms, audio only and video. I'll tell you more about that in just a second. Trump was doing a press conference with a bunch of the AI gurus, and some liberal nut job, rainbow supremacist journalist was being rude. And I mean, Trump is gloves off. You could tell this man has been waiting, just waiting to be back. Here he goes.
And we had 1,500. We have 16 under review, as you know.
Wait, guys, I apologize one more time. The one thing that sucks about this system is I have to push it over to video for our online audience to hear it. And they're a very important part of this show. So I got it here. Here we go. I do apologize for the unprofessionalism.
And we had 1,500. We have 16 under review. As you know, we commuted about 16 of them because it looks like they could have done things that were not acceptable for a full pardon. But these people have served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting. They served years in jail.
I want to hear it one more time. Listen to me. Stop interrupting.
Served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting.
I'm going to clip that out and make it a soundbite for every time some nut job calls in here.
They served years in jail. And if you look at the American public is tired of it. Take a look at the election.
You know, I want to say this real quick, and we can get into the January 6th stuff. We can absolutely get into the January 6th stuff. At this point, with all the January 6th people, but Clay, I thought you backed the blue. Somebody brought that up with Trump on this thing yesterday. But Clay, I thought you backed the blue. I thought you supported all police. Somebody beat up a cop. Yeah, and they've also been in jail for 4 years. How long were people supposed to be in jail? Y'all are the ones that tell me we got over-sentencing, that there needs to be criminal justice reform, and I agree. I've been a big supporter of criminal justice reform. You can't keep somebody in jail but for so damn long. How long are they supposed to be in jail? I mean, 4 years. Some of these folks have been in jail since right after January 6th. You know, at some point, you do the crime, you do the time, you get a second chance at life. If they decide to FOFO again, they'll be right back in jail. That's how it works. It is so funny to me seeing lefties who despise the police caping up for them. Caping up. I will be the defender of all police. The same person that was running around hollering all cops are bastards a couple years ago. Now I think if you bump into one in public, you should be thrown under the jail for life. The hypocrisy. The Democrat double standard strikes again. We'll be right back. Carpet muncher sermon. I do agree. I'm going to throw y'all back on hold here. Y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We got our top of the hour break coming up. It's 7 minutes long. I'm going to stay with you guys online, and we'll jump into your comments and stuff. If you got any questions, you got any topics you want me to hit, drop them in the comments here. We'll take a look at them. We got a fun show this morning. To me, the shows like this usually end up being my favorite because we don't do a whole lot of prep. This is all just kind of shooting from the hip, giving you my, I don't want to say regurgitating, but revisiting stories that I have found interesting over the last couple of days from watching YouTube and the news and everything else, and just giving you my opinions on them. But boom, 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 rapid fire. Not a whole lot of reading. And what I mean is, sometimes there's those stories that I have to do a bunch of reading on the show. That can get a little boring. Let's just be honest. But we do like to get the point across properly. But I got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about today. I saved a bunch of stuff to my Twitter bookmarks that I found interesting, and we're going to rock and roll. I don't know if we're going to hit anything local today. We may. I'll check the local news sites here at the top of the hour break. We'll see what's out there. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in about 2 minutes or less. And we're definitely going to hit the pardons. I know a bunch of people are upset about these pardons. Good morning, Kara. Good morning, everybody. We'll be right back. I like to break a rule when necessary every now and then. I'm a habitual line stepper, as they like to say. Call me Mr. Line Stepper, word 'em up. That's high stepper, isn't it? Well, whatever. Breaking rules when necessary. Look, man, we've got a whole another hour to go this morning. Gonna rock and roll, suit up, boot up, all that fun stuff. Bunch of little sayings because I don't know what I want to talk about. I'm kidding. I was just telling the online audience, I don't even know if we're going to hit any local news today. Has anything even happened locally other than maybe some bad guys killing one another? A couple community service killings around here? I haven't even looked. I've been consumed with making America great again. Not Jackson. So, hey, look, today's my testosterone shot day. I'm going to be giving myself that when I get home. Have you had your testosterone levels checked? You should. I'm going to tell you about that and more. We're offering free testosterone screenings at Men's Health of Mississippi. Also, generic Ozempic is called semaglutide. When we get back, I'll tell you about that and more. This is the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB. We'll be right back. All right, guys, don't go nowhere. I'm staying with y'all through the break here. 7 minutes long. I ain't gonna make y'all suffer through that with the commercial screen. Let's see. Well, let me hit you with one ad real quick. Mine. Go by my shop. Pick up a hat, a hoodie, a shirt, any of that stuff. We got it all there in stock now. Brand new hats, the FAFO hats. I guess I should have wore one this morning. They didn't match my melting machine gun, my ice cream machine gun, so I didn't want to look goofy. But swing by the merch shop, buy FAFO.com. Of course, it's cold outside. We do have the hoodies. We got the blackout tag edition FAFO hoodie. We got the G.I. Joe style FAFO hoodie. And, of course, we got all the matching shirts to go with it. We got them available in gray, and we got them available in black, as well as the blackout tag edition. Buy FAFO.com. Man, I see my buddy Dredd up in the comments watching on YouTube. I got to meet Dredd in person Monday night. He came by my party at Cameron's Garage, or mine and Sean's party at Cameron's Garage. We got to hang out for a minute. Good dude. If I met anybody Monday night and I seemed like I was a little edgy, man, I was slightly overstimulated for some reason, just like kind of on that, kind of jumpy. I don't know, man. Maybe I drank one too many energy drinks or something, but I was just ADD was fully kicked in. So if I came across possibly rude or to anybody, I do apologize. Here's a picture of the new hats. I knew I had one uploaded here. You can check them all out there. Mighty fine looking hats, if I must say so myself. Got the khaki and brown, the gray and black. That gray and black has been the most popular. I got 15 of each hat made. Only got 2 or 3 of those left. That gray and black was a hit. And the solid black too. It's not necessarily my thing, but you guys liked them, and hey, it's what you like, not what I like. My personal favorite is the one on the left, far left here, the white on the back. To me, that's like the OG. But hey, whatever you like, I like, and we'll get more of them and make sure that we have them available for you. So, with all that said, let's check out some of your comments here. I told you I would read them. This ain't just all about ads. So let's see. Dredd says Biden's brother had some dealings with Mississippi stuff. Russ Latino said he did, man. Russ Latino had a really good article about Biden's brother and the North Mississippi Mafia. I forget all those cats' names off the top of my head. But, yeah, they did. And I don't know if those guys got pardoned. I'm assuming they didn't because I hadn't heard Russ say anything. So, but Biden's brother did, in fact, get pardoned for the things he did. Now, I think those guys are out of jail, and then I can make my own mind up. And that is one problem that we have on both sides of the aisle. The right not as bad as the left, in my opinion. It's that we think that because one of us are a Republican or one of us are a Democrat, that if we're on that side, or whatever side you choose, that you have to agree with each other 100% of the time on everything. And what I've learned this year, more so than any year previously, is no the hell we don't. There's just going to be things we disagree on. And there's a lot of things on the right that I disagree on that I don't necessarily think are right-left issues. But we've turned everything into right-left issues. And I think it's ridiculous. And I don't know. The left are really bad about it, though. The left will, that's how Donald Trump won this time, was the left have thrown everybody off the island that wasn't 100% lockstep, rainbow supremacist. I mean, just marching, duh, 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 duh. And the right, we're over here like, hey, man, do we just kind of agree on these core fundamentals? And they're kind of interchangeable a little bit, but do we agree out of, 60% of the time, 51% of the time? Well, welcome on over. At least that's how I feel. There's a lot of things that I disagree with people about. The intro's playing. I got to shut up. Boom goes the dynamite. Welcome back in to hour 2 of the most incendiary show on all the radio and, of course, all the interwebs. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. You can check out my website, clayedwardsshow.com. And it's got all things Clay Edwards related on there. Links to all my merch shop, my social media, my videos, everything. It's kind of a landing page with a bunch of links, but it looks nice. Then, of course, I have my merchandise shop at buyfafo.com. Of course, you can get to it from clayedwardsshow.com. Pick you up an FAFO shirt, cap, hoodie. All that comes with a free FAFO sticker. So love to have you support the cause and look good while you're doing it. This segment is brought to you by our friends over at, we picked up a couple of new sponsors last week. Why don't we talk about them for just a second as we get going here? A lot of restaurants. How about my friends out here in Gluckstadt at Your Pie? I got to be in Gluckstadt around 11 today. I think I may check out Your Pie myself today. Hey, it says, look here. Your Pie. Did you know they have gluten-free? That's right, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan options. They got keto-friendly menu items as well. If you got a food allergy or dietary preference, this is going to be the place for you. Well, one of our hosts here, Mike Madison, was general manager, I believe, of the Your Pie there, and he was telling me about how they do all that. Completely separate area. There's no cross-pollination. So if you have a seed allergy or a food allergy, whatever, you don't have to worry about your crust being created in the same space. I think that's really, really neat how they do that. Also, Your Pie has awesome weekday and midweek specials. Today is Wednesday. It's trivia night over at Your Pie. It's free to play. Winners, you get your pie, that's your pizza, for free. Also, Your Pie can help you help your charities raise funds. If your school or church or group needs to raise money, partner with Your Pie. Sign up for a spirit night for your nonprofit and get a percentage of the sales. It doesn't get any easier than that. Let's raise some money. Let's raise some dough, D-O-U-G-H. Also, in closing, don't forget that Your Pie has the best rewards app around. Download the all-new Your Pie app to earn points with every purchase. Use on free food and drinks and get special treats only available with the Your Pie app. Also get double points every Tuesday. Man, look, at the end of the day, all that is great. That's them bells and whistles that we all like. But the pizza is the main event. Get out there, enjoy some great pizza at Your Pie today. Located right across the street from Germantown High School. It's in that gas station that has a strip mall kind of attached to it. Right there at the big intersection in Gluckstadt, right by the high school. All right. Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. We'd love to hear from you all this morning. Got anything you want to get off your chest? I'm here for it. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Breaking news from the DOJ, from Fox News. The DOJ to investigate state or local officials who obstruct immigration enforcement. Ho, 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 ho. You mean all these sanctuary cities, you're not taking our illegals. All those people, those virtue signalers, they're going to get investigated. I love a good investigation. Let's get them. I know a guy. Chakwe Antra Lumumba needs a couple more investigations. I hear he may be on y'all's radar. I'd like to see some more Chokwe and Lumumba investigations. Oh, man, you got to love it. You got to love it. Let's see here. We were talking during the break about, in the online chat, about some of these pardons. Now, we talked about them a little bit Monday, MAGA Monday. It was a celebration day, greatest day in the history of America. Day we finally had hope. I know it was Martin Luther King Day, but what it should be is Hope Day moving forward. Because the day that America found new hope, things were just a little bit brighter outside, a little bit crisper. Birds chirped just a little bit louder. Any pain you may be going through didn't hurt quite as bad. Your girlfriend was a little bit prettier. Your boyfriend, a little bit manlier. Testosterone levels were naturally turned up a little bit on this great day. It was a beautiful day outside. Just knowing that America is back. I'm getting emotional just thinking about how back we are. I'm retiring this FAFO flag behind me here. I'm gifting it to somebody for their man cave, and I'm replacing it tomorrow with a big American flag. Proud to be an American again. I have not been proud to be an American the last 4 years. They made it real hard to be proud to be an American the last 4 years. All the rainbow supremacy nonsense, DEI, CRT, BS. I'm tired of three-letter abbreviations. What do you call it? Acronyms? Fed up with it all. We ain't making America great again. We're making America great. And it's going to stay great this time. We're going to start deporting some of you nut jobs out of here. What do y'all think about the, what do they call it, birthright citizenship, where two illegals can come here and have a child and boom, they're a citizen, the anchor babies, I guess is the other thing they call it. Trump says he's going to end that. What do y'all think about that? Nowhere else, I didn't know this, nowhere else in the world, no other country in the world allows that. You know something else? And I want to be careful, but I do want to make sure I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. Because something over the last few years, and maybe it's just adulting, it's just adulting and getting out my bubble a little bit. I have developed quite a few friends that are from other countries where we get a lot of illegals from, but they're not. They came here the right way. And what I've been really surprised about is how many of them, they're obviously pro-immigration. They'd be hypocrites if they weren't. But how many of them, especially people from Mexico, that are absolutely anti-illegal immigration, and people from the Far East, from Muslim type countries, from the desert, you know, who did it the right way. And a lot of those guys, and a lot of the Mexican folks too, how they're big Trump supporters. They don't agree with everything Trump does, but after the last 4 years, they have become big Trump supporters. It's been very interesting. Let's take a call here on the Mazda Jackson phone line, shall we? Hey, brother, good to hear from you, man. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I just was going to give you a little background on how birthright citizenship came to be in the United States of America. It's, I think it's the 14th or 15th Amendment.
Yeah, I just got a text. It's the 14th.
14th. It basically came from Reconstruction after the Civil War. It does not go back to the Founding Fathers. It goes back to Reconstruction, if you want to kind of think of it as the first civil rights movement for freed slaves. Back when the slaves were freed after the Civil War, the Democrat South basically said, okay, you're free, but, you know, you're not citizens. or you're free and you're not allowed to vote. The 14th and the 15th Amendment was basically passed by Republican support only. 0 Democrats supported those. And they were constitutional amendments saying if you were a slave born in the United States of America, you are an American citizen and you have the right to vote. That's what the 14th Amendment was all about. That was the whole reason it's in existence. It was not ever intended to allow foreign people to come over here and have an anchor baby. It was basically to give freed slaves the right of citizenship.
No, it sounds like we need to figure out a way to fix that.
Exactly. And, and also if we expose how that came to be, we'll also expose the racist nature of the Democrat Party. The fact that they opposed the 14th Amendment because they didn't want freed slaves to become citizens and vote. In fact, if you go back to the early roots of the Klan in the 1870s, it was all about voter suppression. It was all about the new freed slaves voting and gaining positions in the South, like mayor, chief of police, or whatever like that. It was to basically, the Klan was started to say, you stay home or you don't run, because the first, blacks becoming voting and getting positions were as a Republican. They really didn't switch over to the Democrat Party until FDR. The whole New Deal stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll have them voting Democrat for 100 years.
Yeah, well, that goes back to FDR. That's actually even before Lyndon Johnson. During FDR's administration, it caused during the Great Depression, and FDR started all those alphabet agencies to, quote, help the poor man.
Yeah.
It not only created dependency amongst, minorities, it really kind of changed the mindset of the United States people. Like, instead of like, what can we do for our government? It's like what the government's going to do for us.
Yep.
That all came about under FDR. There's an old song that says, thanks to FDR and Henry Ford, I ain't got to plow that wheel no more. All that whole mindset came from FDR giving away all this money for doing nothing. But, don't get me wrong, some of the programs are beneficial, like TCP. They also had another program back in the 30s. It was an alphabet program, and that's when people went around and actually recorded the testimony of, prior slaves to get their testimony of what life was under. And you can still find a lot of these real voice or written recordings of freed slaves in the 1930s who were still living, what their life was like. That's pretty fascinating. That was done under those programs. So, it's not all bad, but, basically the government was paying people to do, odd jobs to pump money back in the economy. But it kind of created a mindset. That's the dark side of it, of, hey, the government's supposed to help me out because I'm hurting.
Yeah. Well, it has outlived its usefulness.
Yes, it has. It definitely has. But, the mindset's still there. It's like when a politician's running for office, during a debate, one question that always comes up when someone stands up is, what are you going to do for me? Prior to the 1930s, that was not a question. Prior to the 1930s and FDR, it's like, get out of my way and let me fix this. Let me run my own life. Now it's like, what are you going to do for me? You have to earn my vote, not by getting out of my way, but by giving me something.
Well, that is what they have continued to do. Real quick here, in a minute or less, do you think this birthright citizenship executive order, ban, whatever you want to call it, will hold up in court? The assumption is no.
It is kind of been put into the Constitution through the 14th Amendment, even though now it's being used for other purposes. That's going to be interesting to see. it's definitely, I think it's going to be challenged by the courts. And so depends on the court's makeup.
So I think you have to,
whether that'll be upheld or not.
I think if you flip the script here and just using this as an example, it's like what happened with abortion. I think you got to go, or with the border, for instance. Maybe the border is a better example. I can articulate it better. The Democrats opened the border wide ass open, and it's like they always do with their progressive BS. They go all the way. It doesn't matter if they just wanted to go a foot; they go 100 yards, and they took it wide open. And it's like now we're just trying to patch it up. And it's like, well, we just got to get it a little bit better. So we'll just get it back to the way it was, and maybe people will stop complaining. No, it was back to the way it was before we opened it all the way up, and now everybody just agrees, but they moved forward a few more feet. And what I'm hoping is, this makes sense in my brain, so I hope I'm getting this right. They always go for the gusto, and we just try to be the brakes and slow it down a little bit. But when we slow it down, they're still further ahead they were when they went for the gusto. And we never do that on our side. We never go for the gusto. It's just like if you go back to Obama. Maybe Trump's trying to go for the gusto here is my point. And if we can get some kind of improvement, we're better than we were.
Yeah, it's just like when you go back to Obamacare, the Democrats pushed Obamacare on us, and we were hoping the Republicans would appeal it. But no, what they want to do is go with a compromise plan. And they never take us back to before the change was made. It's almost like someone said, Democrats push forward, and then Republicans warm the seat. People get upset about it because the pendulum has swung too far, too fast. So we elect Republicans, and they warm the seat to the Democrats get back in.
Yeah, well, look, Trump talks about this very topic, the negotiating thing, and the art of the deal. You ask for way more than you want, so you can get what you actually want. I got to take my break, brother. Great call.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Like I say, if y'all haven't read or listened to Art of the Deal, you've done yourself a disservice, and you will understand that Trump politics exactly like he negotiates in Art of the Deal. You ask for more, you get less, but you still got what you wanted. We'll be right back. Caller, stay on hold. I'll come straight to you. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on the WYA and the B. WYAB. Of course, streaming worldwide, WYAB.com, the TuneIn app, and Alexa. Just search WYAB. Also, 4K video, live streaming. Jump in, enjoy the conversation with the hundreds and hundreds of other folks watching with us on the live stream this morning. Everybody in the live chat there from YouTube, Facebook, X, and Rumble, all joined in the fun. Just search Save JXN on any of those platforms. This segment brought to you, I teased it earlier and didn't mention it, but it is brought to you by Men's Health of Mississippi. Guys, we're offering you a free testosterone screening. Just text my name, Clay, to 601-327-8550. See the way you felt Monday, that feeling of hope, that feeling of manly man. You can feel like that all the time. And you get that testosterone levels back right. That was like a false bump of testosterone, but some of us feel like that every day. You can too. Are you suffering from fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido, brain fog, sleep disturbances, lack of the morning wood? We got you covered. You could be suffering from low testosterone, and your boy is going to help you out with that. I will expect a Christmas card from your old lady saying, Clay, thank you. You saved my marriage. Text my name, Clay, to 601-327-8550. 601-327-8550. Men's Health Mississippi out there at 120 Fountains Boulevard in Madison, Mississippi is going to get you back on the road to being a manly man and get your testosterone levels right. All right, man. Speaking of manly men, on the Mazda of Jackson phone line, we got the manliest of them all. We got Kingfish with Jackson Jambalaya on the phone with us. Good morning, Kingfish.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Oh, what you got for us this morning, man?
I got to take issue with this last caller on a couple of things, okay? Now, I'm going to read you what the 14th Amendment says. All persons born or naturalized born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Plain as day. Now, what he said about why this amendment was implemented is true. And if you go to read some of the neo-Confederate literature, they'll say, oh, the southern states didn't ratify, none of them ratified it. That means they never really got the votes to do it. So therefore, it's an illegal amendment. Yeah, good luck with, yeah, right, whatever. Anyway, that's what it says. And yes, it was because of what they were doing to the freed slaves. And you can certainly look at legislative intent. But these judges, and he was saying, well, abortion, they reversed abortion and we got a different court. Well, yeah, but abortion is not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. That was kind of a right they created out of the thin air, what they call the numerals, of the Constitution. I mean, it's not mentioned in there anywhere. This is pretty specific. And you get to Clarence Thomas, Barrett, all of them, they're the ones that have been appointed by Republicans. They're like what you would call textualists. They like to go by what the language actually says. If it doesn't say it, then no go. And that's what it says here. And Trump's going to and he's going to have a major problem getting around this with that executive order. In fact, Dershowitz, who was no enemy of Trump, he came out this morning and said, Mr. President, I think this one's going to fail in court. And I actually tend to agree with him.
I do too. I mean, this is one of those things where I can say I like something, but I don't think it's going to work. And I believe this is one of those things. It's going to be it's a swing and a miss, but I think it does set precedents, and it's a campaign promise, and he's shooting for it. And if the Supreme Court shoots it down, that's not Trump's fault. He did what he said he was going to do.
Now, I think most of his illegal immigration stuff is going to pass muster in the courts. And, I just think it will. But this one, no. No, it's coming down. Now, your caller said, then he got into some revisionist history is what he got into. And Frank, no, I'm not even going to be nice about it. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And I'm talking about Obamacare. Obamacare, think back to when it was passed, back when you were probably selling cars and running cars and bars back then for you.
It was bars.
Exactly. Anyway, back then when they passed Obamacare, the Democrats had they had the House and the Senate, and they had 60 votes in the Senate. You understand what that means, right?
Yes.
That means you can pass whatever the hell you want to pass. Then when Scott Brown somehow won that special election in Massachusetts, then they got to 59, and that held it up a little bit. But my point is they had the votes to do whatever they wanted. And what Obama did was shut out the Republicans. They weren't allowed to participate in anything, negotiations, nothing. They didn't need them. They just all got together, the Democrats with Obama at the White House, they'd work it out. Say, here's what we're passing. They'd go pass it. And when the Republicans did meet with him, Obama told them to get over it. Now, he says Republicans didn't appeal it. That's a damn lie. He needs to learn what he's talking about. Republican governors actually did appeal it, and they were thrown out, if I remember correctly, not having standing. There were other lawsuits. Remember the one, at the same time. There was one about how they couldn't overtaxing you if you don't have health insurance. That was a big fight. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And if you remember, John Roberts, this is where conservatives started, realized he was not their friend, where John Roberts turns around and votes, yes, it is a tax after all. It's nothing wrong with it, Limbaugh just went off about that one. But there were Republicans, and when Trump was president the first time, they were passing a repeal of Obamacare, and it failed by one vote because of, guess who? John McCain. John McCain's the one who killed it. So him saying the Republicans compromised, they didn't compromise jack. They didn't have the power to compromise because they were just getting run over. And this is what happens when you don't have any votes. You get run over. Ask the Democrats in the Mississippi legislature.
I'll ask Delbert next time I see him.
Ha ha ha. But seriously, ask any members of the Black Caucus. They can't stop anything. The speaker and his boys get together, Delbert and his people get together, and they can just, give their own caucus. Here's what we're going to do. They come out there, roll it out there, and it passes pretty much. So just saying, I mean, most of what he said was not true.
Well, he was well-intentioned. I
understand, but I see some of that kind of revisionist history, in some right-wing websites, and you know which ones I read. And I see it every now and then, and it's basically the thing, if you don't agree with me, you're a rhino. Well, not necessarily, okay? I mean, that's what happened.
I am so fed up with that narrative from the right wing, from the woke right. And I know my version of the woke right is not what's going around, but that woke right where they act just like the woke left, and the second you disagree with one thing that they're pushing, you're not a Republican anymore. You're a rhino. Maybe I am the rhino. You could absolutely be correct. Maybe I'm using the term Republican wrong. But
well, you know what though? Trump did something they usually don't do, which is he expanded his base in this election.
100%.
I mean, the Elon Musk, the Joe Rogans, I mean, others like them. Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, RFK Jr. I mean, these are not right-wingers, okay, by any stretch of the imagination. And they were so fed up, I mean, he was able to get out there and capture those. That's called expanding your base.
It's how we grew. It's how we won. It's the only reason we won the election this time around.
Well, and the one time when the Democrats took back Congress back in the late 2000s, I mean, how Pelosi and Rahm Emanuel actually did something smart, which was they'd say, you know what, this is kind of a purple or red-leaning district. We probably should run, a progressive. So you'd see them running people like, remember Heath Schuler, the quarterback, in his state. And that's how they took the House back, because they didn't just do the purity test. You see what I mean?
Yep.
And it worked. I mean, it works for both sides. I mean, you can get, I hate to say it because I'm a conservative, but you can get too pure where it works in a think tank's policy magazine, doesn't necessarily work at the ballot box.
Exactly. And there was a particular think tank here locally that sat right here in this studio off air, so I won't say the name, but brought up school choice and said anybody that's not for school choice, we're going to send out mailers and tell everybody they're not Republicans. Like, man, I don't know if that's not the way you want to do this. I'm just going to tell you, but whatever. Do your thing.
Here's the problem with school choice in Mississippi, okay? I mean, let's be honest. Most public school districts are either heavily black or heavily white, right?
Yep.
Most of them. And you got a few like Clinton, but for the most part. If they're majority black districts, I'm sorry, but their politics, it's the same reason they don't pick up homeschooling for the most part.
Their politics have destroyed their public schools.
Idea, and they're not going to do it, okay? They see it as a Republican idea, so that automatically kills it right there.
Yep.
You go to the white school districts, most of them are A and B districts. Agreed?
Yeah.
Pretty much all of them. All right, you have a few C's. Anyway, they think their schools are just fine. They don't see the need. And now when you get around here, they start freaking out. Well, that means Canton and Jackson's kids are going to be coming here. We know what that means.
Yeah.
But my point is, though, and this is what you've seen in other states, which is where in the suburbs where the parents are pretty happy with their darn schools, and then they team up with the Democrats from the inner cities who don't want to mess with their public school friends, and that's where school choice has had problems. And you're seeing kind of the same dynamic here, which is predictable.
Well, it's a new version of desegregation. Is how it's going to come across here. It's a new way of busing. It's a new form of desegregation because we've resegregated ourselves, and the blacks are just as guilty of it as anybody else of going into their corner and saying we don't want to be around anybody that don't look like us. This is not just a white thing; it's a societal thing, and we keep trying to force blend everybody together that doesn't really want to be together. Let me say the quiet part out loud. A lot of people just want to be around people like themselves. I'm not saying people don't want to be around black or white or Mexican or whatever, but generally speaking, we all want to live around like-minded people. And it just so happens in the South, being like-minded means Republicans are typically white, or whites are typically Republicans, and blacks are typically Democrats, and we go into our respective corners, and create whatever bubble that we create. It just is what it is, and we keep trying to force.
We do actually have some school choice now for disabled kids in this state, where they actually are eligible for scholarships to go to these schools, which I totally favor because,
100%.
Frankly, special needs education in public schools in this state, for the most part, sucks. I mean, seriously, it sucks. There's some good school districts. I think Madison's pretty good, but for the most part, it sucks. So those kids, I mean, it gets them into actually better schools. I mean, so anyway, I know you got stuff to talk about today, so I'll get out your way. And thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, brother. JacksonJambalaya.com. You can check out Kingfish there. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by, you just heard the commercial there, Huey Magoo's chicken strips and more. Man, so good. Huey Magoo's is the filet mignon of chicken. At Huey Magoo's, they serve up only the top 3% of premium chicken tenderloins. Huey Magoo's handcrafted tenderloins are marinated for 24 hours and cooked to perfection. And you and your family will taste the difference. And you know, real talk, you really can taste the dang difference. That top 3% of the chicken, that makes sense. There's a reason why those dang chicken strips are so good at Huey Magoo's. I was wondering what it was. I mean, real talk, not to sound facetious there. There's a difference in what they're doing at Huey Magoo's compared to some other chicken strip joints I've had. It legitimately is that dang good over there at Huey Magoo's. Did you know, also, just throwing this in there, they are locally owned and locally operated, based right out of, I want to say it's Brookhaven, Mississippi, is where the first one was founded there. And it's franchised from there here in the state, but the owners of all of them are right here in Mississippi. It's not just some little pop-up franchise that somebody decided to bring down here out of the Buy Franchise magazine or whatever. This is something created right here in Mississippi, a lot like McAllister's and some of these other great restaurants that have expanded that started right here in Mississippi. Also, Huey Magoo's is not your ordinary chicken tender restaurant. Huey Magoo's also has wraps, sandwiches, salads, and meals. You hungry yet? You know you are. Visit Huey Magoo's today, right there on Bass Pro Drive in Pearl, right there in front of the outlets in Mississippi. As soon as you turn in off Highway 80, they're the first building there on the right if you go on the Highway 80 entrance. Right across from that Western Wear store. Also, they're right there on Lakeland Drive in Flowood, basically right across the street from the Walmart there out by Castlewoods. Check them out today, Huey Magoo's. All right, man. You know, Kingfish there throwing gas on the fire this morning. Talking about all that good stuff. Let's see here, man. Whatever. See if I want to hit anything national. We may circle to something local. We don't have about 3 or 4 minutes here. What I should have asked Kingfish was his thoughts on these pardons. Because, look, I'll be the first to tell y'all when I'm out kicking my coverage, so to say, punching above my weight. And when it comes to the Supreme Court making decisions and rulings and stuff like that, there's just things that I have opinions on, but I cannot tell you one way or another legal precedents on stuff. You know, like I said, I talk about what I know, and I try not to outkick my coverage. But I am curious what he thinks about, or in general, the legality of these broad pardons for crimes that aren't specific. Do they have constitutional standing? Going to be very interesting because, I mean, what you're saying, if with these things like with the Biden did for Fauci, for Hunter, for that pump MF for Benny Thompson, Liz Cheney, so on and so forth, these criminal tyrants who have destroyed America, these communist Marxist thugs, is what you, and for any president moving forward, you know, even Donald J. Trump, you're saying that everybody in his cabinet, everybody in his family, in his sphere, moving forward, every president can just break the law and do whatever they want. And we're just going to issue this little broad pardon here. You're free to go. Rules, talk about rules for thee, but not for me. Or rules for me, but not for thee. I'm sorry. Maybe I had it right the first time. We can't, you can't do this. Is unconstitutional. This is un-American. This ain't right. It's a violation of my civil rights. You can't be allowed to break the law because you work for the government and then just get a little pardon. No, it doesn't matter what you did. I pardoned you. You did it for me. How screwed up is that? There's no way that can stand legally. We have to do something about that. I mean, on Trump's last day of office, after he pardons everybody that has to break the law to save America, to make America great again, after we get through breaking all those laws, because unfortunately, breaking rules when necessary, we're gonna have to break some. Biden screwed things up so bad, Obama screwed things up so bad that some laws are going to have to be broken. And but once we clear all our people for saving America, because when we do it, it's for the right reasons, then the last executive order he needs to sign is abolishing presidential pardons. I mean, why not? I think we should just abolish presidential pardons. That should be the last executive order Trump signs on his way out the door in 2028. And pardon everybody. I'm pardoning all of America for any crime you may or may not have committed in the last 10 years. Somebody is going to commit street justice on some of these people. I think you're going to end up seeing a rash of high-profile assassinations. I really do. Because I think there's people who are fed up. Fauci being able to get away with the crimes against humanity that he has gotten away with, allegedly, of course, it is a slap in the face to any and every American out there. I have a friend of mine, Brian. I shared his post on Facebook. He had put a picture of Fauci, and he's like, I lost my leg because of his science. And he did. You can go to my Facebook page, and you can go click on Brian's profile. And from the knee down, I believe he got an infection after he got that jab, and they had to amputate his leg. Terrible, terrible, terrible situation. Now, he's overcome that as best somebody can with a half a leg. I mean, he goes to the gym, he works out, he's in phenomenal shape. I mean, got muscles, got a six-pack. He ain't let it hold him down, but he should have never got to that situation. And now Fauci just walking off into the sunset. I don't know if he has Secret Service protection or not, but just like John Bolton, I believe he needs it revolted. Taken back, done away with, abolished. Let's take our last break. Online, don't go nowhere. I'm Ryan with y'all. Radio, we will be right back on WYAB to land the plane for the day. All right, Radio Land. Let's see what you got going on in the comments here real quick. JD asked, when can we expect them Chockway hats for pre-order? My guy's designing them now. I'm using a different hat than the one that originally had the logo on it. So I'm getting one with the actual hats I use, and as soon as he sends me the mock-up, I'll start the pre-order. Because that's not going to be a hat that I order a bunch of. It's going to be, if we pre-sell 20, that's all we doing is 20. It's not going to be a hat that I want stuck with past the pre-sale. So I do appreciate you, JD. I'll let you know on that. Let's see here. Steven says Benny should be in jail with Antar. Oh, I think they should be cellmates. They should absolutely be cellmates. Get the lube. Benny coming in hot. Literally. Dredd says, one thing that is interesting is the cap on debt, interest rates, credit cards, etc. Yeah, that's a little above my pay grade there, Dredd. I mean, obviously, I won't lower interest rates and I won't caps on all that stuff, but I'm not familiar with it necessarily. I haven't jumped into that one, so I'm not 100% sure. So I don't want to speak on it and sound dumber than normal. Don't want to sound dumber than normal. Steven says, we need to do away with H-1B visas and only have the .01 extraordinary ability. Yeah, the H-1B thing is been bastardized as well. It was well-intentioned. It has outlived its usefulness. They need to reevaluate that and bring back some meritocracy and standards to it. Darius says, good knowledge, but can also really go back to 1900 when the Democrat Party bought the land and came with Parchman. How were blacks voting Democrat when they were the most crippling, not going to say racist party for visibility? Yeah, I don't understand it, brother. Phil the Steel on YouTube says, my man, I haven't been proud to be an American since Obama broke the Constitution of the sanctity of marriage by allowing homosexual marriage. That started the downfall of common sense. Yeah, look, what did Rush Limbaugh call it? The slippery slope. Somehow we went from gay marriage to all the crazy trans agenda, rainbow supremacist nonsense. They were like, Sean always refers to it as the dog finally caught the tire and doesn't know what to do with it when he got it. Like, all these big progressive think tanks and groups and organizations, these nonprofits, these people that get paid to push this stuff were like, well, I need a job. I can't just fold this thing. What are we gonna push for next? That's why they keep adding letters to the rainbow supremacy alphabet. Because the more letters you can put under there, the more marginalized people you can fight for. And now they've converted they've used your social media apps for better or worse, this being for worse, to convert so many, at risk isn't the word, but just say youth, mentally challenged youth suck them into this trans agenda, is particularly autistic kids. They get sucked right into this every time. The overwhelming majority of trans people are, sorry, running my mouth here. All right, we're back. I apologize there. Running my mouth there during the break. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. This has been the Clay Edwards Show. I will be back here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Be sure you're following me online. Stay tuned. Mike Madison up next on WYAB. Peace. All right, online audience, I want to finish what I was saying there real quick. If you'll go look at it, the vast majority of these trans people are people on the autism spectrum, whether it's Asperger's, autism, whatever, just on the spectrum as they call it. And they get them hyper-focused on one thing, and that one thing is this trans stuff. And they treat it like a religion, and it has turned to a bit of a religion. But if you know anything about people that are on the spectrum, they get hyper-focused on one thing. And whatever that one thing is, it could be dinosaurs. That's laser-focused on that. And that's when you see these people treating it like it's a religion, it's typically people on the spectrum that are doing so. It's typically people on the spectrum that are your biggest anti-Trump. And like I said, they treat the Democrat Party like it's a religion. And I'm not saying that we don't have that on the other side too. We do. And it's equally as annoying there. We do not need to be replacing our politics with religion. So, all right, look, I'm going to jump off here. I got a lot I got to do today. I lost a day yesterday. Didn't leave my house at all. My flip-flops didn't leave my feet till last night. If you missed the show, I did put the podcast that Philip Yarbrough and me did last night from my house. It is available on the podcast network. Just search Clay Edwards Show on Apple, Spotify, wherever you do audio-only podcasts. And, of course, it's here wherever you're watching this video now. Just stroll back a little bit, and you'll see it from last night. We went for almost 3 hours. We talked about local music, the politics of local music, and I don't mean left-right politics. I mean venue, so on and so forth. Really good conversation. We took a deep dive into all of that stuff. And Philip played 4 songs live from my living room, studio, last night. Really good stuff. We enjoyed some whiskey while we were doing it, so we got a little loose. It's uncensored. Parental advisory warning. You may not want to listen to it with your kids in the car. And then again, they're probably seeing much worse in your car and online, so what the hell? I'm kidding. But, man, y'all have a great day. Get out, support these great sponsors. If you're out looking for somewhere to eat today, swing by Huey Magoo's. You just heard me talking about them. Locations in Flowwood and in Pearl there at by Bass Pro. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue, Flowwood, downtown Brandon, Madison, Martins, Livingston, downtown Jackson, Acme Pizza.